I'm Elijah. This is
Austin Weigel.
All right, and we are here. We're going to talk about, well, an interaction that I had with folks. So why don't we just get into it? All right. Okay, so I had a question for you guys.
This is a live reaction for me.
Live reaction.
I've never seen this.
Do you believe that women are perpetrators of abortions or that they're victims? What do you think?
Wow, that's a great question. So I think a little bit of both, but I tend to lean more towards victims.
Okay.
And I guess I say that because I actually went into an abortion clinic to abort my daughter and met Christ in an abortion clinic, and he saved my daughter's life.
We're over here, by the way, just in case.
Sorry.
You're fine.
Okay. Yeah. And so I think like just knowing that feeling of just kind of being coerced into that, I think that's where I kind of align more with that victim mentality that I think a lot of women don't want to be there.
So I'm not saying that people wouldn't be coerced, right? But do you think you would apply the same thing to like any other situation? Like, for instance, if somebody was a part of a gang and they were being encouraged to, commit some gang atrocity, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like kill someone as part of their induction into the gang. Do you think that would be... You'd use similar logic there, or do you think that would be different and that person would still be like culpable?
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
And I think what do I want to say? I feel like that kind of, there's times where I think that actually is the case, like in certain gang situations. Actually, my son's from El Salvador, and I'm like, yeah, the MS-13 absolutely would force people to do horrible things.
Yeah.
No, I do think I hear what you're saying, and I do agree with you. Like, and I'm not trying to use the logic at all that like these women are victims to the point of that makes it right or that makes excuse for it. Not at all.
But like they're victims in the sense of people are pushing an agenda on them. That's what you're saying.
Yeah.
People are pushing an agenda.
Yeah,
I can agree with you on that. And those people who are pushing that agenda on them, that is evil and wrong and should be dealt with by the government, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But let's say, let's kind of go back to the original question. Do you think that there are some women who are only guilty? Like they have...
Yes, I do.
Right. So they shout their abortions, right?
I think the culture has shifted a lot where women know it's a baby.
Okay.
And they have no problem killing it. They know it's a human.
Yes,
there is some situations where vulnerable women are coerced and they don't know it's just a clump of cells.
Okay, I'm sure you have something to say about that. She basically said that yes, there are some women who are completely guilty because we now have all this knowledge, right? What do you have to say about that?
Yeah, I mean, if she's trying to point to better ultrasound technology or something, I think it's just an irrelevant argument to begin with. I do think every woman inherently knows when they get pregnant what they're pregnant with. Of course, there's societal pressures on them because we've normalized abortion for so long for them to, in their mind, change what they know and attribute a false belief to it. It's not a valuable human. Sure, it's my species. Intellectually, everyone knows that. We have for pretty much all of time. I would say since Adam and Eve, this is an inherent thing we just know, of course. And so I've never bought into the education side of things that that women aren't. I mean, what's the argument? They're not morally intellectual enough to determine right from wrong, even though they have this knowledge of the science?
I think the argument is kind of like, before we had ultrasound technology, everyone thought that it wasn't a baby. I just don't think that that's the case. I mean, you can look at even things like look at the Bible and the way the Bible speaks about unborn humans. And, that was it was the book that helped found America, whether you like it or not. And so, I mean, that was the book that people were basing their morals on. And so they were seeing in the scriptures the way that unborn children are talked about. And so that's why people would say stuff like, you're with child and everything. I just think that Romans 1 I think that people have the knowledge of what's going on, that they know that there's a baby inside of them. So I don't really agree with her on that point, but I kind of let it slide.
Sure.
And this is why.
Okay.
Yeah.
You have your whole life ahead of you. Yes, I think there's some women that are very vulnerable and don't know, but I think there is a huge culture shift where they know exactly what it is.
Absolutely.
And they are after death. And yes, I want to get pregnant like 7 times to have abortions.
Right.
Yeah.
So
I do think those women are more on the guilty side than the victim side. I really do, because
that's really fair. Yeah.
And I really do think it's like a celebration of death, and that's I don't know how big that population is, but I know it's growing.
Sure.
And I really think yes, it is a party of people that are guilty in a sense.
So like we would agree that there's like varying degrees of like culpability and that sort of thing, right? So where do you think it should be, I'll use the word adjudicated, as to whether or not that woman is innocent or guilty? Where should that process take place? Like in an ideal society, let's just say we had the law that we wanted in place. Where should that happen? What do you think?
I guess that's a hard line to draw.
Well, let's just say, so abortion's outlawed. Let's just go down the path here, right? Abortion's murder. It's outlawed. A woman commits an abortion in a back alley or something like that, right? Knowing full well what she's doing and that sort of thing.
Sure.
Even if she didn't, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Where should that be decided as to whether or not she's innocent or guilty?
Oh, in the courts. I
Yeah.
mean, absolutely.
Okay.
Because
100%.
we have things like safe haven laws
Okay.
in states where if you give birth to a baby you don't want it, you can put it in the fire station with no questions asked. So there's really, I feel like, no excuse for that anymore.
Yeah.
So I just feel like, that should be taken care of in a court of law. And
So what if I told you that there is a bill right now that is being brought forward that does exactly that? That would say,
Here it comes.
it's not saying, these people are guilty or these people are innocent.
Great
It's saying,
setup. I
let's
know.
take the
Thanks.
laws that apply to born murder and let's take those and let's apply them to the murder of the unborn.
Yeah, of course.
yeah.
So are you aware of that? There is actually a bill right now in Ohio that we're trying to pass.
Okay, that's great. I did not know that, but I think it's
Okay.
great.
Yeah.
So I would encourage you to look into it. But one thing that I wanted to say with the backdrop of the Center for Christian Virtue, I don't know if you're familiar with them,
Yeah.
but they have actually actively worked against our bill that would do just that. That would give personhood to the unborn. What do you think about that?
I would have to know more.
Yeah,
'cause
okay.
I'm actually.
I can explain
Her brother-in-law
Yeah,
just
my brother-in-law just used to work for them.
Yeah.
Okay.
recently.
And we support them financially.
So, yeah,
Right.
yeah.
So
I
yeah,
think there's a
would
lot
have
of-
to
Supported
know.
Center for Christian Virtue as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I would have to know.
I guess I would want to
why
know more
behind it.
details of
Yeah.
why they would be against.
So, just gotta stop there for 2 seconds. So, Austin is what's your position in End Abortion Ohio? President?
President founder.
President founder, right. So, Austin has been pushing for this bill for how many years?
Oh man, since at least 2023 officially.
Okay, 2023, HB 370 has a name. How many co-sponsors?
We got 6 co-sponsors along with the 2 joint sponsors.
6 co-sponsors. Okay, so, and I just dropped a major bomb on these women who apparently support the Center for Christian Virtue, right? Even monetarily, they have family who works for the Center for Christian Virtue. If you were in their shoes and you found out about that, how would you feel?
Man, I mean, probably betrayed. I start to realize what I believed about this organization isn't true.
Yeah. But would you have a moment where you're like, no, this is the organization that I give money to?
I hope not. I mean, that's...
Well, I know you wouldn't.
Yeah.
I know that's how you, but like in our natural state,
Yeah.
like I think we have to never underestimate the ability of a man or a woman to go to their death defending an institution
Sure.
over and above the truth.
Yeah.
And so when that was their reaction, my first thought, dude, was like, they are gonna hate me.
Well, because internally, you don't want to feel like you're culpable in their evil. Like, as you confront them with that information, they can, the gears start churning. CCV is doing something wrong by opposing this. They know that morally. And so now it's like, am I culpable in that because I've been supporting them? I have family members supporting them. And so in this video, I guess the wheels are just starting to turn.
Yeah, it's like this broad range of emotion. You can either go the betrayed route, or you can kind of harden your heart and be like angry at the person who's telling you this.
Sure.
Because like how could a place called the Center for Christian Virtue oppose a bill that would abolish abortion?
Yeah.
So like walk us through just briefly what happened with that, because I know you guys posted an article about it, didn't you?
Yeah. I mean, back in our first effort in this bill, in last session with a different representative trying to push the effort, they were one of the primary people going to this rep saying, don't do this bill, that this isn't what the pro-life movement stands for.
Right.
We had that confirmed by multiple people in the organization, adjacent organizations. The rep himself said, yes, the president of CCV, Aaron Baer, came to me and said, don't do this bill. We don't support it.
Yeah.
And so that actually, I'm disappointed in the rep because he was persuaded by this effort of cowardice, just to be frank. And so that really essentially killed the first iteration of HB 370. Now, of course, God works good things through evil things at all times.
Amen.
All things for the good of those who love him and who he loved first. And so through that, a lot of people woke up because there was some awesome articles put out by different journalists covering that news story. Ohio Right to Life and CCV lobbied against a pre-born personhood bill. And so it made some storylines, and that helped us get the bill through this time around with, I think, some stronger-willed representatives, some people more grounded in their Bibles. This time around, CCV, they didn't like the bad publicity they got from opposing it the first time around, and I had conversations with some of their staff in the meantime.
Yeah.
A lot of the staff was disappointed with how they behaved. This is kind of like an executive level thing going on where there are people who want to support it below the top level, but there's like 1, 2, 3 people at the top that are like, slamming the hammer down and saying no. So this time around, they don't like the bad publicity. I think they're a little worried about the public's response as this bill got national news. It was on the front page of NBC News. So they have told me they've opted to go the silent route. They're not going to endorse it because they still don't believe in it, but they're not going to oppose it publicly because that looks bad. And they know, like, even the general pro-life public that we would have disagreements with on a lot of stuff, they look at that article and they go, what in the world?
Right.
That group was just at my church. I need to go talk to my pastor about that. And so that's CCV's worry with it.
Yeah. So I think that this moment in this discussion, our desired outcome, I could put it sarcastically, right? Like I could ask the question, well, you just want to be mortal enemies with these different groups because you want to grow your organization, but that's not what we want. Either of us.
No, man, I want to pass this bill and be done.
Yeah.
I don't want an organization.
Right. Our ideal situation would be that we didn't have to fight for the abolition of abortion.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of other things that we would happily, fight for righteousness on. This one is hard, and we want it to stop now, and we want it to do it the right way, right?
Yeah.
And so we want Aaron to come on board.
Yes.
We want CCV to come on board. We want them to come out and say, we're going to serve God. We have Christian in our name. And we're actually going to mean that.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's see if they get mad or not. Okay.
I will do my best to steelman their position, okay? So I want to be fair. I'm a Christian. I want to be very, very fair to people, okay? That is like, if anything is said about me at the end of the day, at the end of the time when I die, it's that at least he was honest about what maybe his opponents or what other people believed, right? So the argument, I think, from them would be similar to the argument from a few other organizations here, and it's that they don't want any law in place that would criminalize a woman, potentially, who kills her unborn child. And as we just talked about a moment ago, the place for that to happen, the place for that decision to occur is in the court.
Yeah.
That's how murder is adjudicated in all cases, right? And so what we're saying is, with that bill, is they need personhood, and it needs to be taken to the court.
Yeah.
So do you think maybe there's a misunderstanding, or?
Like in Texas, they have a law that outlawed abortion, but they still provide abortions because there's no punishment.
There we go.
So I think there needs to be some type of punishment, because if you outlaw abortion, they're still going to happen if there's no punishment. So I think, I don't know what that looks like.
Civil crime.
Right, a civil crime. Right, but
It's
not
common sense.
Right.
But it's like the first time
Yeah,
she's
thanks
thinking
for
about it.
correcting me, but I think it does need to be more, there does need to be more of a law that criminalizes, I don't know to what extent.
Okay.
Because I think if you outlaw something, even civilly, there needs to be some type of punishment for it, or people are going to keep doing it. So, again, I don't know what that looks like as far as...
You don't have to have all the answers.
Yeah, but
It's okay.
I think there needs to be at least something in place to, if we're going to outlaw abortion, some type of punishment, because we have ultrasounds now. We know that a baby is a baby, so I feel like there's less excuses for that. And then, yes, I think I would agree with that.
And we're already doing that in so many ways when there's a mother who's pregnant and gets killed, and that person's getting charged with double homicide, right? So
exactly.
I mean,
if
that's what's so frustrating to us, is that we hear that all the time, and we've heard that since we were pro-life, and then after we have become, what's called abolitionists. I don't know if you've heard the term, but we're advocating for this equal justice, right?
Yeah, of course.
That born people are treated like unborn people.
Yes.
So
I definitely think we need to move in that direction.
Yeah,
of course.
Where, I would agree with that.
And so, we're just asking for people to consider supporting this bill, and read it. It's a page and a half. It's very simple. Okay. It's about, I don't know if you've read a heartbeat bill or looked at one. They are very long.
Hundreds of pages.
They're like 30 pages.
I owe that to you, because you had that presentation.
Yeah.
And you were like, look at the length of this thing. And I'm like, this is just insane.
Yeah.
Because the concept is really simple. And simple obviously there's complexities with legal stuff, but simple in comparison to all this other nonsense that our government constantly passes, right?
Yeah.
But their arguments there, didn't that just hit home for you? Because it's just I hear these from people like Kristen Hawkins and I'm sure CCV guys have said the same thing. They've said the double homicide thing, I'm sure, before, right? Sure. But the implications of that are that there's someone who actually gets punished.
Yeah. Yeah, it's astonishing to think, people like this, and I love them, and I care for them, and I want them to know the truth, but they have been involved in a movement for possibly decades now.
Yeah.
And you can see in this video, they're thinking about this stuff for the first time.
Right.
Like maybe the thoughts have crossed their mind, but they are connecting the dots here, and they're, starting to notice, oh, shoot, that didn't make sense why I acted like that for the last 20 years.
Yeah.
But it's because of how much the pro-life industrial complex has shoved this ideology down the movement's throats. They've shoved it down Christians' throats, and pastors weren't there to educate it, to make them spit that nonsense out and look at their Bibles for the answers. They you grow up in a political movement, you default to that movement's standard positions, thinking, this is right.
Yeah.
And there hasn't been a lot of cross-examination of the Bible versus the pro-life movement's stance until recently. Until these abolition bills get there and start to challenge this status quo.
Yeah, so were you kind of shocked that they had a relatively calm reaction to like the news that I'm telling them?
You know, I wouldn't say I'm too shocked because it's
Really?
it's so simple.
I am. Maybe that's like my problem,
Yeah.
but like whenever I talk to someone like that and I present this, no matter how I present it, if I'm like right here, I'm trying to be as charitable as possible with them. And I'm even trying to like move past the victim argument a little bit because they recognize, as everyone does, that there are people who aren't victims, even if they're people who have a pill shoved down their throat, right? Mm-hmm. So those people would be victims. So they recognize that there's people who aren't victims, but like I still just like was shocked that they didn't run away.
Sure. Well, I'm used to talking to the politicians. I'm the lobbyist here at End Abortion Ohio, so I'm dealing with like unprecedented levels of pride and hubris in their way of thinking. So when I try to present these type of arguments, the most common pushback I get. Okay, I'm not afraid to name drop. The most pushback I've gotten really in the House has been Representative Melanie Miller, who is the leader of the Pro-Life Caucus, director of like a regional pregnancy decision health center thing, very involved in the movement for decades now. And, she's telling me women have been educated for so long that abortion's okay, that it's not a baby, it's not a human, this is fine, it's legal, you can do it, that you can't just then come in with a bill that says, no, it's actually murder. Women won't be able to have that dichotomy happen.
You can kind of hear that in their voice a little bit, where you hear them saying things like, well, that's where we want to get to. Sure. So even with all the convincing and all the, hey, this is good, someone could come along, this is I hate this thought in the back of my head, but like someone could come along and have a conversation with them and basically say, it's not the right time.
Sure. 100%. That is the number one temptation, especially for the politicians, because if it's the right time right now, which it is, of course, biblically it always is. Yeah. But for them to process that and have that now on their conscience convicting them, if they're a believer or not, the law's written on their heart. They know right from wrong in this instance, what they should do as a legislator, as a magistrate. It challenges them and it tells them, if I want to stand for what's right, I'm going to have to bleed. Yeah. And that's what makes them so uncomfortable. Maybe these people are calculating, I'm going to have to talk to my family member who worked there. I'm going to have to talk to my pastor. I'm going to have to rip out my donation and explain that to somebody I know. And so you start calculating the cost. It happens instantly. And with the politicians who have such high views of themselves, such high career goals of where they want to get, it's not the time. I'll slowly educate the public by my Baby Olivia law. I'll educate them. We'll educate the kids through the schools, and we can slowly teach them abortion is wrong. And then somebody else down the road is going to have to bleed for it. Their career is going to suffer, not mine. And so that becomes the common excuse. And I even took it. I want to share this story because I took it a step farther with Rep. Miller, who to this day says she won't talk to me anymore after this conversation. She's telling other reps, I'll talk to the reps in charge of the bill, but not Austin, not that Austin guy. No more conversations with him. Well, it's because I challenged her and I said, okay, by your logic with this education argument that women aren't educated enough about, or they've been educated poorly enough, or they aren't morally culpable to a degree yet. I said, take that back to slavery here in America, where, our entire nation was told for decades, a century, longer with world history, that black-skinned human beings weren't equally as valuable as white-skinned human beings. And I said they were told that for so long. How would you feel about the day after, as slavery is abolished, now the punishment for lynching is murder? Or are you going to say, the culture's not ready for that? That we've been told they're not people for so long, the white man can't be punished because he's been trained that a black man isn't a person. And same type of thing. You could see the wheels turning. The politician, people with, I would say, pride in their heart and unwillingness to look at their Bible instead of their own desires on this. gets really defensive. You don't know the conversations I've had with women in abortion clinics who were seconds away. They were lied to. They are XYZ. They were pressured by their mom. Blah blah blah. You know, it's skip over that whole logical conclusion that she knows in her heart. She was confronted with that dichotomy, but it turns into that experiential, emotional type of.
This is the thing. I literally do not even care if I don't care about what percentage of women are victims. I don't even want to, I want to argue about that because it is a scriptural thing. I do think that people have the law of God written on their heart, but I want to move past that because there are some women who are victims. And so when I move past that, I'm like with them, it's like there are people who are culpable. They are responsible for their actions, and therefore there has to be justice. That is the biblical thing. There has to be justice for those who, with malice aforethought, kill unborn children. So
everyone knows it. Everyone in the world knows that fact. Taking the life of an innocent human being is wrong. Everyone has that equally written on their hearts to begin with, inherently. And it's just, what sinful beliefs am I going to put on top of that to try and look another direction?
100%, man. Okay, let's see how it ends.
I maybe watched a video of a summary of it. I've never actually read one.
So this has the advantage of being utterly simple because the concept is very simple of unborn people are people, right?
Yeah.
And so that's why we want to encourage people like you, read it, talk to the folks at Center for Christian Virtue, and say, hey guys, what's going on here? And really think about that. And then one last thing I want to add here is that when we give blanket immunity to women and we say all women are victims, okay? And I can even agree with you that in a sense they are all victimized in a way, okay? But a way as in told lies, things like this, right? But with regards to the crime of murder, they are not the victim. The victim is the child.
Absolutely.
And when we talk to women, they need to come to God. They need to come to Christ.
Amen. Yes.
And one of the things we do when we come to Christ, right, is we admit where we're wrong, where we've sinned, right? And we say, God, forgive me of this particular thing. And so that particular thing is murder. It's killing, right? And so that's one area where it moves into the realm of, scripture and what the whole thing does, but really into the realm of peace with God. Because I don't know if you've ever done something wrong, like you've lied and then you've prayed about it and you asked for forgiveness and it just that weight just kind of lifts off of you, right?
Oh yeah.
And we want peace with God for these people.
Of course.
Yeah, of course.
And so that's where we need to proclaim the truth of this is murder and you can be forgiven of this. A woman can be forgiven of it.
Absolutely.
You agree?
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes.
I really appreciate you guys. I'm Elijah. Nice to meet you.
There we go.
So there was the interaction. So what are the thoughts that you have, man? I mean, so we want to put godly pressure on brothers and sisters in Christ to follow the word of God, right?
Yeah.
To do justice.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes. Amen. Man, I would say this type of conversation with Christians is, for the issue of abortion itself and the legality of it, it is more important than talking to the pro-abort about the issue of abortion.
Right.
To go to the Christians in your church, your family members, your pastor, and say, hey, I want to make sure we're thinking clearly, biblically through the genocide that's going on in our society. And having that conversation that you just had with these two people who seemed like they professed the name of Christ as well and were being challenged with this truth for the first time, confronted with it. For the abolition of abortion, that is the most important conversation to have with everybody and the reason why is because the reason abortion isn't abolished is because people on the right, because Christians and conservatives and Republicans are the ones stopping this bill. We have the numbers in Ohio. We're not in a giant blue state. We're in a very red state. When it comes to the makeup of the legislature and what they can do and what representatives are going to be pressured to do by their constituents. It's all Republicans. And so, yes, let's reach the other people with the gospel. And have those conversations as we have been doing for years. But really with HB 370 and the abolitionist movement becoming very prevalent in the news and the culture and politically, this is the number one most important conversation to have, is discussing that fatal flaw of the second victim narrative.
So if you guys are listening and you are in Ohio, or if maybe if you're not, but Center for Christian Virtue, are they outside of Ohio too, or are they just only in Ohio?
I'm only familiar with their Ohio operation.
Well, anyways, you can share this video with them and you can let them know, hey, what's going on here? Why won't you come out in support of this? Do you like, where's your bravery? Are you going to cower back while babies are being killed? How many thousands of babies were killed last year in Ohio?
I mean,
more than
30,000 plus. The ones they're counting.
So, guys, this is like a really serious thing. We don't have time. Even if we did have time, it still wouldn't be right. We still need to enact justice now, because that's what God calls us to do. Put in the just law and make sure that the evildoer fears the government and then gives birth to their baby and realizes that it's a gift from God. Okay? I mean, this is going to lead people to Christ on that basis alone for years to come if it were to pass, right? So this is so important, and exactly what Austin said is what you should do. Take this conversation to your pastor, take this conversation to your fellow Christians, small groups, whatever it is, right? Have it respectfully. You can have this conversation respectfully. It is possible, but there needs to be an urgency, guys, right?
I would additionally say everybody who watches this video, go to the CCV website, find their contact information, write them an email. Say, hey, I am a Christian. I live in this county. I go to this church. I am so disappointed in your silence and refusal to support the abolition of abortion, the preborn of the personhood, which is on your website that you say you support. You have that on your mission statement that you believe in the personhood of the preborn, and you are staying silent because you are calculating a political cost, a career cost as an organization. Tell them you are going to go talk to your pastor about this and say, we don't want this organization involved in our church until they actually stand for the Christian that is in the name of their organization. Everybody go write that email. I don't believe this group is beyond reaching. There are a lot of people in there who profess the name of Christ, who have been part of that pro-life machine for decades and believe something that's not true. That's whether they have Christ in their heart truly or not. Right now they are acting in sin, in silence, in opposition to this bill, and they need to be brought accountable by thousands and thousands of Christians.
And do not complain about abortion. Don't go and talk to somebody about abortion if you won't do this really simple thing, okay? This is going to take you 10 minutes, all right? Do it. The link will be in the description. Thanks so much for coming on, man. I meant to ask you a silly question in the beginning, so I'm going to ask you one now, okay? So if you were a Star Wars character, who would it be, and why would it be Jabba the Hutt?
What? A giant scumbag? I'm not that big yet, man. I don't have the dad bod. Oh, man.
I'm closer than you,
I'll give the nerdiest answer possible. Give me Grandmaster Luke Skywalker from the EU, the expanded universe, before Disney took over, from the novels, where he took the Jedi Order in a wonderful direction and learned from the lessons of the prequel trilogy.
There we go. I can't even... I have nothing to say. I'm as nerdy as Austin, or more probably, so great answer. All right, guys, have a good one. That was great, man. Thank you.
That was fun.
That was really fun. That was good.